Awesome. Welcome to the podcast, David. This is episode number 13, Pest Control Millionaire. And today, like I said, we have David Brandt. He runs Lemonade Lawn Care out of New Braunfels, Texas, and that's twice in a row I got it right now. And he does residential lawn maintenance and fertilization weed control. And when he jumped on the call, I noticed he was wearing a pink shirt. So that was a first win in my book. We switched over to pink 3 years ago, I think, something like that. And we ran with it. So good color. So good work, bud.
I don't have the pink shoes yet, but working on them.
I'll have to send you some. How about that?
Bingo.
All right. They're gonna say turf badger on it, of course. But you're the second company that I've met that's actually Lemonade Lawn Care. The other one was they're Lemonade Services, and they were out of I think they're out of Pennsylvania. And it was just a really, really cool marketing tactic and some of the things that we did that they did that I want to talk to you about and go along with your branding. But why don't you first go ahead, just kind of tell us how you got in the industry and what year and things like that.
So it's kind of a long story.
Sweet.
But I'll try and keep it short. I was in sales before this, and that was my career. I've been in sales for, probably like 8-10 years. And everything was going well. They made some changes at the company, and stuff went from going really well to just not going good. And I'd been kind of thinking about what else I could do. And we had, there was always a lawn crew that would come by and take care of the property. And I remember just looking at them and being like, God, man, those guys, their job looks awesome. They're outside doing stuff, and I'm stuck in the office. And I talked to a few people. I used to joke about it. You know, I could make more money mowing lawns, and people would always tell me, well, maybe you could. But so stuff got crummy at work. And then after praying about it and thinking about it, I just quit. And I was a little naive. I had someone mowing my lawn at the time, and I hated mowing my yard. I just hated it altogether. But I thought, you know, I'd be one of those guys who just mows lawns and does it by himself. And you know, I'd be happy doing that. But I didn't have a vehicle. I didn't, you know, hadn't even started a business. Like I said, I hated mowing my own lawn at the time, and just kind of jumped in, quit my job. I didn't even have a car at the time. I quit, and then I needed to get a ride from one of the guys at work to drive me back home. And then, and then just spent like the next 2 weeks just being on the phone, calling everyone I know, letting them know I was starting lawn care, finding a truck. I didn't have a job because I'd quit. So I needed to co-sign with my dad to buy like a $4,000 truck, and just had a little piece of junk push mower, and stuff just went from there.
That's really cool. What year was that?
We've been in business for 5 years now.
5 years?
Yeah. And then since then, we've just, I think we spent the first year just kind of being a solo operator. Was fortunate to have a guy just call me up out of the blue, asking me if I needed some help. And he was our first hire. And then from there, we've just grown tremendously to where I'm more or less out of the field. And we're just kind of, like I said, we've grown quite a bit since then.
Cool. So you're 6 to 8 years in sales. You don't have to tell me which company you're working for, but what did you sell?
So I was doing auto sales, and then I'd been doing auto sales for, 4 or 5 years. And then I did finance at the auto dealership, and it was great. It was awesome. I really think a lot of the reasons that I've been able to excel in this is from the things that I learned in sales, the ability just to call up people, the ability to just really kind of go out there and get it. And then when you're in sales, it's kind of one of those things, you know, we say you eat what you kill. So if you don't sell anything, you don't make anything. So it was an easy transition for me to, I spent all day trying to sell a product for someone else. Why can't I spend all day trying to sell my own services?
I love that. So one of our best sales guys kind of has the same story as you. He sold cars for 6 to 8 years, and then he came here and he's like, man, this is super easy to sell. Like, everyone wants this. It's, you know, not a $30,000-$50,000 car. It's a, you know, $500, $600, $700, $800 contract for lawn care or pest control. So he does really well. So the background, I could totally understand. Can you read my shirt? What it says?
No, I mean, you're
It's
super tiny
backwards.
on my.
Gotcha. It says "Make sales great again."
Yeah.
So yeah, we are you obviously heavy into sales. But what was like when you first started out? Obviously, you didn't have a car. You're taking a huge risk. You didn't have any money. Your dad co-signed for a $4,000 car. Did you know that you were going to do big things? Did you have a vision of doing big things at the time? What did that look like then?
At the time, honestly, I didn't have much of a plan at all. I knew I wanted to do something on my own. I thought I was just going to be just a chuck in a truck, just driving and mowing lawns myself. I'd heard stories from people at work that, everyone knows a guy who mows lawns, and, he mows lawns for 6 months out of the year, and then he takes the other 6 off. And I was just kind of fed up with the whole corporate environment. So that sounded good to me. I literally would watch YouTube videos because I had no idea what I was doing. So I'd watch YouTube videos on how to use a string trimmer and YouTube videos on, how to mow yards because I had no idea. Like I said, I hated mowing my own lawn. So, but it's all I could think of is, what I thought I could do. There had been other businesses I thought about, but mowing the barrier to entry so low that I figured, I can mow lawns.
Yeah, and that's kind of why so many people get in it, right? All it's needed, like you said, is a couple $100 lawnmower and a string trimmer and just kind of run with it. But it gets harder than that.
Was crazy at the time. We had just bought a house. I mean, it was just a bad time to start a business. We had just bought a house. We pretty much used up all of our savings. So it was just a real leap of faith, but it worked out. I think sales, like I said, has really if you can make it in sales, you can make it in anything.
Yeah, it's a dog-eat-dog world, in sales and in business.
Oh, certainly.
So how did you get your first couple of clients? I know you said you started reaching out to people on the phone.
I literally spent the first 2 weeks just calling everyone I knew. So I'd call everyone on my phone book. I'd call the realtors I know. I'd called people that I'd sold cars to before in the past, just posting on Facebook, posting on Nextdoor, just doing everything. And I remember being excited that we had like 6 mowing customers in a week. It was a big deal. And now, we're servicing, I think we're up to about 250 mowing customers. And so, yeah, it's just, like I said,
do you still remember your first client?
No, I don't think so. I know there's a few that we've had forever, but yeah.
I remember landing my first client ever. It was like the best day of my life.
Oh, definitely. In starting out, I mean, I kind of fell into that whole trap of you're in lawn service, you have to do everything. So you have to cut trees, and you got to have the big 0-turn mower, and you got to do big yards and small yards. And then since then, we've really narrowed it down to a real kind of niche market.
What is your niche market now? I know we kind of talked about it before, but.
Yeah, we kind of do the city turf thing. We just focus on small properties. We have a mowing team out, and we keep a really tight route. We actually just dropped quite a few customers early in the year, and it's worked out tremendously. But our bread and butter is like the new houses with the 2 trees in the front, the small 8,000 square foot lot. It's easy for us to get in those newer neighborhoods, and just really the guys can spend all day in that neighborhood without having to drive.
Yeah. So the ones that you dropped, I'm assuming that they weren't like in your territory or a little bit too far out.
So we service our city, but we made it really tight. So if we only service certain neighborhoods instead of the town itself, and if you're not in that neighborhood, even if you're on the way to that neighborhood, we won't take you on. We only want the people who live in the small neighborhoods that we service.
So you're super efficient.
We're super efficient, yeah. And our guys make good money mowing lawns. We just try and make it as efficient as possible.
Yeah, I love that. So you've been in business for 5 years. How soon did you get into fertilization weed control then?
We've only been doing fertilization weed control for a couple years now, and it's been tremendous for us. We love it. I mean, it's helped out tremendously.
Yeah, because you have that, that one, you can keep your competitors away, right? You offer a dual service. And then it's obviously a more profitable service. But we talked a little bit before the podcast. You thought maybe about getting out of the residential maintenance side of it. What's your reasoning behind that?
When it became hard to find employees, I noticed that it was a lot more difficult to find people who wanted to mow lawns all day as opposed to people who are willing to treat lawns. We've been pretty fortunate. We have a fantastic team right now, but it seems like it's getting more and more difficult to find people who are willing to. It gets hot out here. I mean, this summer was brutal. We just got out of a drought, and I think it was 110 degrees in June, and it was just miserable. So it's getting hard to find people who want to work out in those. Mow lawns all day, every day.
Yeah, I think you're the third person in a row, actually, that we've had a podcast with. They're all from Texas. So we've heard the same story, is that it's super hot and super dry, and you guys had a drought through most of the year, and some people wanted to cancel and push it off service, things like that. So it made it really hard for you guys. But, and we talked about this before, and I could be totally wrong, but my theory is I see a trend happening right now, and everyone's getting out of maintenance. They're trying to all get into fertilization weed control. They're all getting into pest control. And what I see happening is that the rates for fertilization weed control, the rates for pest control are going to start dipping down. And the rates for maintenance are going to actually start going up because everyone's jumping out. And so, the game is for everything is try to find the right people, try to find people in general to run maintenance. But I think with the market that you have, the small yards that you run, the small equipment that you run, the small trucks you can run, it's a really good spot to be in. And maybe eventually the mowers will come along. I still think that we're, a few years out. They're coming a long way from the people that I know in the industry that are really into that side of the world. They're close, but they're not quite there yet. But I think the first lawns that they'll work great on is lawns like yourself. So my theory is that I would probably stay in for the next couple of years just to see what happens, because I see a trend.
We're certainly not losing money mowing lawns. It's been good for us. It's been a big part of our business. It's been frustrating with employees, and really we're fortunate. We have a great team. So it really hasn't been as bad for us as it has been for other people. We've actually been able to pick up some employees from other businesses that had a hard time during the drought. But like I said, it's really, there's no urge for us to get out of it. Like I said, we're not losing money by any means.
Yeah. And you said that your biggest competitor is like the chuck in the truck.
Yeah, we're in a growing market, so I'm starting to see quite a few people, just solo operators, and it's kind of driving the market down to where there's a little bit more margin compression on mowing. That being said, like I said, we're still moving along. We haven't grown a whole lot this year in the mowing side of it because of the drought, but I don't see us continuing to grow.
Yeah. How did you guys handle the drought?
So the nice thing about small yards is they irrigate. A lot of people who service the larger properties, they don't water just because it's such a large property. But because we're servicing the newer builds, the small builds, those are all people who do water their lawn and want to keep it nice. So we've been able to stay busy. Like I said, we haven't really grown a whole lot on the mowing side, but we've been able to continue servicing our existing customers.
Yeah, that's good, because like I said, I talked to a lot of people that they just said that a lot of people were canceling, they didn't want the service, and they were struggling to get through financially, and it lasted like 2 or 3 months, didn't it? Something crazy like that.
Started about a year. It started last October, and then we just started getting decent amount of rain probably last month or so. So they put watering restrictions. They were only allowing people to water their lawn one day every other week. And it was just enough to kind of keep the lawn alive, but not really flourishing. But really the key for us was just focusing on the smaller properties, because we were able to continue working throughout that.
And so for equipment, do you guys use push mowers, commercial push mowers? What do you guys use? What's your setup?
Yeah, we just use push mowers. We have a truck that we send out. It has a ramp on the back, and then we just carry 2 push mowers on that. We have a couple string trimmers, blowers. We don't use trailers, and we have a 30-inch mower and then a couple 21s that we bring.
You have like an F-150 setup, or what does that look like?
100 Ram.
What is it?
It's a 1500 Dodge Ram.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people down there are also switching over to like the vans as well, keeping everything stored up. So I've seen a lot of people running this model you're running. A lot of people are starting to switch over to the van model as well with the ramp coming off the back.
Yeah, I know quite a few people doing that, and that seems. That definitely seems like it'd be an efficient route to go as well, especially for spraying. It seems like it works really well.
Yeah, and not just that, but like you think of like I know like space down there, commercial space is getting really expensive, so people they don't need a whole big shop to keep everything in. They just put inside the van, can store it outside, and all their stuff's gonna get not that you get a lot of rain, but keeps out of the weather and the elements, you know.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. And the marketing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like a driving billboard, right?
Yeah.
So from day one to 5 years later, you scaled. You're getting larger now. How have you been picking up more of your clients? How did you start to grow?
So we have a fairly good name. I feel like we're fairly respected in the community as well. The biggest thing that I've noticed was painting the trucks. Our trucks are bright pink, of course. It's got a huge Lemonade Lawn logo on the side of it. And the nice thing about servicing, certain neighborhoods is, our team is seen constantly in those neighborhoods. So we pick up a lot of customers just by being out and about in the neighborhoods. Our name's easy to remember. I feel like we stand out in our community just because of the bright trucks, because of the name. All of our employees, I'm real picky about our employees. They're all extremely friendly. They're great with talking with the customers. We've really focused on the customer service aspect of it.
Cool. So why did you choose pink?
Pink, I remember seeing on Facebook like years and years ago, there was a business that I can't even remember the name, but they had pink trucks, and I think they had yellow trucks as well. And I remember just seeing that and being like, God, that's awesome. And I just felt like it went along with the name, Lemonade Lawn. A lot of people actually call us Pink Lemonade. People just call us Lemonade, but it kind of just coincides with the name.
Yeah, that's super awesome. It makes sense to me. Like the pink lemonade is really cool.
Oh, definitely.
Sorry,
definitely.
You said all your trucks are pink. All your branding looks like your shirt does.
Yeah, bright pink shirts. We've been wearing bright pink shirts for a while. I was a little concerned about our employees not liking them, but so far our employees, they love it. They're stoked about the pink for whatever reason.
So that's funny that you say that because, in the early years, we maybe thought the same thing, but what we did is we reverse engineered it, right? So you had to work your way up to a pink shirt. So
nice.
They would start out with, a blue shirt, a white shirt, a black shirt. And then once you got better at your job and like a 5-star employee, then you got the pink. So everyone wanted the pink. And now everyone loves the pink and they want to run with pink. And obviously all of our trucks are pink, shirts are pink, shoes are pink, everything's pink around here. Hats are pink. And that's why we did too, is more of a branding thing for us. They said that all vehicles out there are 1% of them are pink. So if you see one pink truck, you feel like they're everywhere, right?
Yeah.
You think they have 100 trucks. I mean, you could only have 1 or 2, but it stands out.
Oh, definitely.
One of my friends said the other day, like one time he was driving down the road and he passed one of his vehicles and he didn't even know it. He's like, if I don't notice one of my own vehicles, how is anyone else going to notice us? And let me tell you what, everyone sees the pink trucks.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I remember when we first started doing it, people thought we were crazy and people just come up to me and be like, why the pink truck? And I mean, my whole thing is, would we be talking about it if it wasn't a pink truck? You know 100%. What I mean?
We get that all the time too. Like everyone's like, why pink? Why pink? I love the pink. That's the first thing they tell us all the times. They love our colors because they don't usually see it.
Yeah, I usually respond with something like, I know a good paint guy, and we can paint your car pink. And of course, everyone's, oh my God, no.
Yeah. Did you paint your own trucks? Do you get them painted like a Mako? Do you wrap them?
We traditionally have sent it over to a Mako, and they'll paint it for us. And it doesn't have to look perfect.
Yeah.
Just pink and look good from afar.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of like the trend that I see everyone doing. They just hire Mako to do it for $500-$600 a truck. And, I think our wraps in our vans cost us $5,000, or you can go get it painted for $500, but we don't have Mako around here. So we have to wrap all of our stuff.
Yeah. I think we're going to get a compressor and start painting in the future. We have a large, a Suzu NPR, a True Green truck. And I think we're just going to paint that ourselves.
Yeah. So you said you kind of want to get a mowing, but you want to get more towards fertilization, weed control. So let's kind of just chat about that. What's your goal for 2023? How many clients do you want to bring in, and what's your plan to go out there and get them?
So we didn't push fertilization, weed control too hard this season because it was a new offering. We're just still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I feel like we have it pretty well figured out at this point. Considering we didn't market tremendously last year, we grew tremendously in it, to where we have just as many, if not more, fertilization weed control customers than we do for mowing. The nice thing about fertilization weed control is out here, it's something that we can do all year long. Whereas, mowing, once, everything goes dormant, it slows down. And the thing that appeals to me for spraying is it's, like I said, it's something you can do all year long, and I don't have to think about what am I going to do with my guys come wintertime. Are we going to have to push mulch? Or I really, the businesses that I admire are the ones that kind of just do one thing, and they're able to do one thing all year long instead of having to pivot to Christmas lights or have to pivot to bush trimming. I like to keep it simple. So that's the appeal to me, is just that it's one service. We can focus on one service and we can really drive that home. But we're definitely going to step on marketing this season, a lot of online. We've got a pretty good ad spend, so I think we're going to take advantage of that. We have bright pink lawn signs that we put in the yard, and we get a lot of traction from that. And then we also dye the lawns like Peterman in Oklahoma. We'll dye them blue once they go dormant. We get a lot of attention from that as well.
Cool. Did you go up to see Brandon?
No, I've actually spoken to him on the phone. Like we were talking to you on before on the phone, is I'm not shy, and I'm definitely willing to call people I don't know, but I've spoken with him quite a bit and got a lot of advice from him as well, but I've never met him before in person.
Yeah, he's a good egg, one of my best friends. And everyone knows him as the blue dye guy, right?
Yeah.
And but that's how you found me too, right? You just reached out, and next thing you know, we're on a podcast together.
Like, about the podcast.
Yeah, we're like, we'll chat about this. Just jump on. Let's just do it on a podcast. We'll talk about it all there. You got questions? Great. Just ask on the podcast. So, but you've been in business for 5 years, and you already got out of the truck, which is really fast. How did you know to get out of the truck that fast? Did you have coaching? Did you have mentoring?
So I've always been big on, I love learning. I love talking and networking with other people. Obviously, I admire Jonathan Potoshanik. I've kind of absorbed all of his stuff, all the Lawn Care Millionaire stuff. I remember,
hence the name of the podcast, right?
Started, yeah. And then through Academy, I just joined Academy before they kind of broke up, but just learning from all the previous sessions. And then the person who's probably been the biggest help for us is Marvin. I think our first year I'd reached out to Marvin. I saw he posted something on a Christmas light forum, and I didn't know much about him. I think he had a Facebook group at that time, so I'd seen him post a few times, but I just reached out to him on Facebook and said, hey, is it cool if we talk sometime? And now, I remember there was weeks we would talk on the phone every single day. And he's been, I don't think I would be nearly as far along in business if it wasn't for Marvin and his just willingness to go out of his way. And I still haven't met Marvin in person, but he always answers the phone. We've talked on the phone for hours on end. And, I've definitely got a lot more from him than he's gotten from me.
Yeah, he's a good egg. And I think we talked to him last week. We had him on the podcast, and another one of our good friends doing big things. And most of the people that are in our group, they're always willing to help, and that's just what we want to do because we know that that's how we got it started, right? Or that's how we started to grow, is that we found someone to help us that had been there and done it that's way ahead of us. And we found them to mentor us, kind of like what Marvin's doing to you. So it's super cool. And you mentioned Brandon already. So that's just part of the group that's always willing to help. How did you find Academy?
I'd seen Academy. We've been using Service Autopilot for quite a while.
Gotcha.
And you log in, it had like the little Academy logo on the bottom, and I never really thought much about it until I think I was talking to Peterman, and he asked me if I was in Academy and said it was, it's like college for business owners. And then I saw they were doing open enrollment, so I sent a little email in and did some name dropping, and I was like, oh, I know Marvin, and I know Brandon Peterman, and I know Nikki over at Call Boss.
Yeah.
So I got in, and it's been amazing. The stuff that I've been able to learn just from listening to the sessions it never gets old to me. I can go back and listen to previous sessions a million times and always take something away.
Yeah, same. So when you log into Academy now, can you see all the past recordings from day one?
Yeah, definitely.
That's pretty impressive because it took us 5 years to get all that. Now you can just log in and go back and watch everything, which is really cool. So it explains a lot of the whole growth thing. That's really awesome. Then you said you use Service Autopilot for CRM. Were you upselling a lot of customers through the CRM, like to your fertilization bee control?
Oh, definitely. Just the ability to send out marketing text, emails. We use it for upselling Christmas lights, everything.
Yeah, that's super awesome. And obviously we use Service Autopilot too. That's where I found Jonathan. That's kind of how we're together. Obviously, like I said, hence the Pest Control Millionaire podcast, because learning from my mentor, he taught me a lot of stuff. So you've only been in Academy, you said, for 6 months, and it kind of just fell apart. When it fell apart, did you felt like you were like losing like a best friend type?
Oh yeah, I was definitely kind of bummed, and still am kind of bummed. It is what it is. But the ability to just go back and continue learning from the previous episodes, it's been tremendous. I'll listen to a session a day, and they're like 3-4 hours long. But it was definitely a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, and like it was the same way for us. But let's circle back because you're a sales guy and you sold a lot of cars. Have you done any like door-to-door stuff? Have you done any, like cold calling stuff? Like what's your tactic down there in Texas?
So I actually reached out to you like, God, I don't even know, like 2 years ago when I saw you were doing the door-to-door stuff. And I heard you were just killing it. So I think I'd messaged you before, like years ago on Facebook, but because that was something that appealed to me, is the whole door-to-door. And just even talking to Peterman, I think Peterman told me, he's like, man, if I could do it all over again, I would just build a team, go to door, and just, he said there's companies out there that just blow up overnight by doing the whole door-to-door thing. We haven't pursued it too much over here. It's definitely something that I'm interested in, something that I could see us pursuing in the future, but we haven't done too much of it at this point.
Well, I might know a guy that can help you.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, and if you reached out a couple of years ago and I didn't respond, my apologies.
No, you totally did.
Did I? Yeah, I did respond?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'd asked you because I starting up your consulting or something along that lines.
Yeah, we have a coaching group that we do. That's kind of what the podcast is for, just awareness, that and our company awareness, and bringing in culture, and bringing in recruiting and things like that. And we teach people how to do it, but we don't teach everyone how to do it. We just have a select few people that we work with, I don't want it to be out there for the whole like market to see out there, but I just figured the people that I'm friends with that really want to learn, that will, take it seriously, I'll help those guys out. So yeah, we do that as well. And it's not, again, it works, right? But it's not the end all be all. It's just it's just a piece of the puzzle. You have to have sales guys in every business, whether that's cold calling, it's answering phones or leads. And you just have to have someone to go out there and get the work, right? Generating leads and things like that. But you can't stop doing all the other marketing strategies either.
No.
And that's where people get confused. Like, oh, I'm just going to go in on all this. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. But then it brings a lot of negative things along with it, like bad reviews People talking about you on Facebook groups, like for the community group. So you got to be prepared for that stuff too. And if you don't know how to handle those certain situations, I just don't think it's a good idea to start going knocking doors, because
Oh,
you're gonna fail unless you know how to do it. And I spent a lot of money to learn how to do it, and I had brought in a bunch of some big guns and paid them a lot of money to learn. And without that, I'd have been SOL, because I started knocking doors without knowing anything. Like I was doing the same thing, jumping on YouTube, trying to figure this thing out, and I'm out knocking doors. And yeah, I made a few sales here and there, but I didn't have any agreements. I didn't have anything in place to keep the customer. Like I was just selling like one-time jobs. That's just how it started. But then I brought someone in as a coach, taught me the right ways to do it. I'm like, oh, well, this is way cooler than what I was doing. And then, you just learn from someone like that's ahead of you.
Oh, definitely. It's, I mean, we've got a couple employees who want to start up their own business. And I mean, I tell them all the time, don't be afraid to reach out and learn from other people. There's people out there who will help you.
But what I think about those people who want to start their own business, they think it's easy, right? And there's so much more to it than just doing the actual work. But if you can figure out a way to keep those guys, maybe they go off and do their own thing, but if maybe you can work with them at the same time. I've lost people in the past that were very, very good and talented that went and started their own thing. Knowing what I know now, I'd have just struck a deal with them. Great, let's do this thing together. You can have your own office. We'll work together and just be a partnership. That way you don't lose those guys. They already have that mindset of being a hustler, want to be an entrepreneur. Awesome. Use that to your advantage and take those guys and run with them.
Oh, certainly.
So I lost a couple guys because of it. Now today I would never lose those guys. I couldn't afford to, but those are the guys that I partner up with in new markets. So if you can figure out a way to do that, I think that's a really good idea.
Oh, definitely.
So I would just, talk to those guys, sit them down, be like, okay, if you want to go do this, maybe we could work something out to work on this together.
Oh, exactly.
So what's your biggest plans for 2023? What do you see yourself? What are you guys doing?
So we're definitely going to push the fertilization weed control. We're definitely not going to phase out mowing anytime soon. Like I said, it's something that I think gradually we can work towards. But as far as marketing goes, I think it's going to be strictly based towards the fertilization weed control. We might continue doing lawn mowing, but maybe with a caveat that you have to do fertilization weed control as well.
Yep, like a dual service.
Exactly.
I see a lot of people running over to that model too, which I think is smart.
Oh, definitely. That way you can kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure if we go that route also, we're not hindering our route density with the mowing. That's what's made that so successful. But that's a thought. We might go that route, but definitely we're going to be focusing on spraying. We just brought on a full-time spray tech who has a lot of experience in pest control. One of the things I would like to get into would be pest control as well, at least so we can maybe start doing some structural. I don't know if we'll go inside the house, but I would like to be able to spray the outside and just doing that along with our fertilization weed control and using it as an upsell.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people doing that as well, and it's smart, right? You just your customer value goes double and triple once you get into adding those services to it. So definitely think it's a good idea and something we can talk about more offline, kind of help you out with a strategy, maybe how to get some customers down there. Texas is a tough market. There's pest control companies all over the place, a lot of door knocking companies, lots of competition, but there's a way to go about getting the customers that are your customers, and just, the customer doesn't necessarily want to write 3 separate checks, right? They'd like to keep it all in one house. If they can get their mowing, fertilization, weed control, and their pest control all in under one roof, it's so much easier for them. And that's kind of the tactic that you'll have to take it. So with your customers for fertilization weed control for next year, do you have a marketing plan set up that you want to go after these people?
We don't currently have a marketing plan set up to go after them. I think we're just going to continue what we've been doing in the past that's worked out, and then maybe definitely put more emphasis on online marketing. I feel like this, some of the stuff that we've been doing has worked out tremendously well. The big signs, the dying of lawns has been tremendous for us. I think we're just going to focus more on online advertising and continue to do those things.
Yeah, and that's a good spot to be. You have to be online. It's getting expensive online as well. Everyone's competing
It
for the same customer. So the things that you are doing outside the box, like having the pink branding, having the pink signs in the yard, those are all different things that no one else is doing in your market. So I continue doing those things before I put too much effort online right now. Obviously,
Yeah.
you have to be online. Just don't go spend all your money there. Keep doing what you're
Oh,
doing.
definitely.
What's the future
Yeah.
look like with Lemonade Lawn? Like, what's your vision with this thing?
Just continue growing. Like I said, I definitely want to make more of a name for us when it comes to the weed control, pest control, and just grow, continue growing. Right now, we're kind of localized in our city. I would like to eventually kind of branch out into other areas, but still continue a tight, dense route. But right now, we're just focusing on growing and building a great team. I'm pretty fortunate right now. I don't have to get involved with too many things. We have a fantastic group that is really kind of able to handle situations and problems on their own and just make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah, I like that. And then for 2023, is there any like big hires you want to make? Anything that you're looking to do?
Yeah, definitely look to bring someone into kind of more of a God, can't think of the name of it.
Like an operations manager?
Operations manager, exactly, to manage more of the. And really, there's not a whole lot to it. There's not a whole lot that I'm doing in the shop, but if I can get that off my plate, it would be key to kind of growing quickly. But that would be definitely one of our key hires that we're probably going to look within and kind of develop someone into that role. Maybe do part time, but that's definitely the next big step for us is bringing in an operations manager.
Cool. Then what would your job be after that?
Just focusing on more of the marketing, focusing on more of the growth side of it. It's difficult to, and I'm sure I mean, it's difficult to do both when you're kind of overseeing the operations and then also focus more on the business end of it.
Yeah, you're wearing too many hats. When you're starting out in the first
Oh,
5 years, you got to wear lots of hats, right? Then as you
exactly.
as you as you get bigger and you bring in more people, you wear less hats, and you'll solely focus on certain areas of the business.
Oh, definitely.
And operations, although it's fun, it's not my cup of tea either. So if I can hire out the operations manager as fast as possible, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it's maybe fun for a year or so, and then it gets a little old.
Yeah, but it's like the school of hard knocks, right? Like I just had an ad pop up on the stupid computer. But it's kind of like a school of hard knocks. Like that's how you grow the business. Like you literally know how to do everything, and that you've done everything. You can show people how to do things, and then just recreate it. Recreate a process for everything that you do, and then just start hiring those things out. So the operations guy it would be a key turning point in your business where you can actually focus on the business and marketing and sales and start really driving that home. So it's probably a good move to do that.
Certainly.
How many crews do you got out now?
So right now we because we kind of scaled. So I'll tell you, man, we scaled down mowing a little bit earlier in the year when it was difficult to find people who. It seems like we were hiring people and firing people and hiring people, and it's just we were having a hard time finding anyone who that could do it the way we wanted it to be done. So we scaled down mowing a little bit and made those really tight, dense areas. And although I think we dropped like 60 customers, but we have it's done wonders for us profit wise. We've just been able to be a lot more profitable that way, and just scaling down has been in the mowing side has helped us out tremendously. And I don't even remember what the question you asked, but
So with those 60 customers that you dropped, how did you know which ones to drop? Were they underpriced? Were they too big?
So a lot of it came down to what we noticed is the newer houses, they're much easier for us to get in and out. And then because we have a lot of moving to this area, we're able to pick up a lot of new homeowners who don't necessarily have a lawn guy or a lawn service. So we noticed they were quite faster growing for us. And the really Bermuda grass is what we kind of focus on. It doesn't grow quite as fast as in St. Augustine. It's easier for the guys to mow quickly. There's less issues with the fertilization and weed control on the Bermuda. And so it sounds lame, but certain neighborhoods have different types of grass and they take longer for us to mow. So just focusing on the newer builds where it is Bermuda grass, doesn't grow as fast, and it's just a tighter route. The houses are close together, and just a lot of people moving into those neighborhoods.
Totally makes sense to me. Who was Dave in high school?
Dave in high school. That's a tough one. Who was Dave in high school? God, I don't even know, man. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of did a little bit of everything. I took some college classes, and they were all, like wood shop and welding. And I feel like I never really had a direction as far as what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. I always saw myself as kind of, I knew I would be okay no matter what I did. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I kind of wanted to go in my own direction.
Sweet. Did you play sports or anything like that?
No structured sports. Did a little bit of, the extreme sports stuff, but no structured sports.
Cool. What did you like to do for fun back in those days?
What did I do for fun back in high school? God, nothing productive, man. Yeah, a lot of stuff that I wouldn't want to tell my kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about it.
But we've all been there. That's why I like to ask, like, I want to see what people's backgrounds are. I want to see where they came from. Like, I want to know what they did. Yeah. Like, what made them choose this life, and what makes them different than the rest of the people out there,
Yeah, no, I just had a lot of fun. And I grew up in a small town, really small town. It was one of those towns that everyone knew everything and or everyone, and you couldn't really get away with a whole lot of stuff without other people knowing. But we just had a lot of fun. I didn't do anything real productive. Never really good at school a whole lot. Had a hard time with school, paying attention. Liked working with my hands. And I think I even remember telling my brother at one point, I was like, dude, I'm going to be all right. One way or another, I'll be fine.
I just find it interesting. Like you said, that you were not great at school, didn't really pay attention that much, but now that you're in business, you like to learn every single day.
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah. And that's what's fun for me about business. It's, I don't necessarily like mowing lawns. I don't necessarily like treating lawns, but I like kicking butt. And I like having a business that is well known. I like just kicking butt. I like kind of dominating our area and being the brand that when someone thinks about their lawn getting serviced or whatever, they think of us. They think of our pink trucks. They think of just all the things that we do differently. So that's kind of what drives me is just I love thinking of new ideas. What else can we do to make it even better for the customer? What else can we advertise to the customer? We do this that the other people don't do. And the creative aspect of it, I have a lot of fun with that as well.
That's cool. What is the best advice you've been given for business so far in the last 5 years?
The advice I've been given to probably, there's been lots of stuff that have been real instrumental for me, but really focusing on one area and just going at that area full steam. I see so many people fall into the trap of your lawn service. You have to do landscaping. You have to trim trees. You have to pressure wash. You have to do whatever your customer wants. And really just focusing on a niche market has been one of the, I think I even learned that from Jonathan, just watching his videos, just focusing on one thing, driving that home and just doing it really well.
Yeah, and I could not agree with you more. I was caught in that trap too. I've done it all in the past: landscaping, snow, fertilization, weed control, mowing. I've done it all. But once you really scale that back and focus on one service, get really, really good at it, that's how you scale. So I couldn't agree more. What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud about? I am I'm proud of a lot of things. I'm really proud of our business. I'm proud of the culture we've built here, the team that we've built here. I'm proud of just the reputation we've built in our market. I think we've done a really good job of, I mean, I don't want to sound too conceited, but I feel like we're known in our market. And I mean, when I started, like I said, I had a $4,000 beat up truck that I had a magnet on the side of it. And I feel like I remember before I had the truck, I would drive my wife's minivan with a push mower in the back. And like, we started with literally nothing. And to go from literally just a dude who mows yards, and maybe you saw him on Facebook, to being a business that, we show up in neighborhood Facebook groups and people talk about, and people see our trucks, and just to be the kind of brand that people know in our area. So I'm proud that we've been able to do that.
Yeah, that's a super great story. Like, literally had nothing.
Yeah, I mean, literally knew nothing. Also, I think I was naive and thinking, I could just start a lawn service, and then once you get into it, you realize how little and just looking back now, I mean, just how little I knew about what I was doing, and just where we've been able to grow from there.
Yeah, and even to this day, we're still learning. Like, we don't know it all. We're trying to learn as much as we possibly can to keep doing what we're doing.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So that's fun for me. Just the constant learning, the creative aspect of it. I really enjoyed the branding. I think if I had to work a normal job, I would go into some sort of marketing. I really enjoyed the marketing aspect of it.
That's super awesome.
Yeah.
Do you, before we jump off here, we're going on about an hour. Do you have any questions for us?
No, not so much. I mean, I would love to talk to you about just how you've been able to grow so quickly in the fertilization, weed control, pest control. But that's obviously a long conversation.
For sure.
But no, other than that, I mean, like I said, the reason I've been able to get to where we're at now is just by calling people I don't know and just talking to them. Hey, how did you get here? How did you grow so quickly? And that's been instrumental for me. So, I'm always to talk to people.
Yeah, keep up the good work, because not a lot of people do that. You have to have a little bit of humility to realize that, okay, maybe I don't know all this stuff, but I have to figure it out, because you don't have a choice.
Oh, definitely.
And what is the worst someone can say is no? Okay, cool. Go to the next person, right? A lot of people aren't willing to do that, so good work.
Exactly. And it's, I think sales has really taught me that. But, I mean, I had to. It's one of those things, you either don't pay your mortgage or you figure it out one way or another. And thankfully, there's people out there who are willing to help you out.
Yeah, for sure. I know when I first started, I had just had a baby myself, just got a new house myself, quit my job making like $28 an hour. Time to go figure this thing out. And I didn't have a choice either. Just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Going and knocking on doors, knocking on neighbors' doors. And that's how the whole door knocking started way back in the day. But I didn't have a clue what the heck I was doing, But it worked.
Yeah.
Even back then.
Oh, definitely. No, yeah. I agree with you 110%.
Cool. Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us today. And look forward to speaking with you more. And in the future, we'll get you back on and see where you're at.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. So I know it's kind of random.
No, it was cool. Thanks for being there for us.
Thanks for checking out another episode of the Pest Control Millionaire podcast. If this was valuable to you, please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. It really makes a big difference for our growth. And if you do need any help growing your business, go ahead and check out pestcontrolmillionaire.com. We have lots of courses up there, from sales to operations. I have some courses there about producing short form content. Plus, we have a mentorship program where you can get one-on-one business coaching from the Pest Control Millionaire himself. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.